Hey guys, welcome back to Sports Pros. I'm your host Robert Ackerman. Today we're going to talk to you about my week 3 picks. Now last week I had a bad record of 7-8-1. Made a little risky picks, some picks that kind of annoyed me because I thought they were going to definitely win. But bad weeks happen when you do picks. So the first team we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns home against the New York Jets, my New York Jets. To me, I'm going Cleveland this one. The Jets, first week we looked at them, they were phenomenal. Defense was playing great. Offensive line was holding up pretty good. Darnold looked great. Even last week, I think Darnold looked pretty great. Threw almost 350 yards. Did have 2 picks, but the offensive line struggled. They didn't have a running game. And if it wasn't for the few mistakes that the rookie tight end Herndon, I think his name is, he had a wide open catch he missed, and then he had a catch at the 1 yard line, dropped, fell down, fumbled the ball, grabbed it up, fell back down. Time expired, they didn't score any points in the first half. But the Browns, the last 2 weeks, they only lost because they didn't have a kicker. Zane Gonzalez was missing field goals, and they should be 2-0 instead of 0-1-1. To me at home, the Browns are hungry for a win. The Jets O-line isn't that good. I'm expecting Miles Garrett to come after Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens, though, but I'm definitely going to pick the Browns over the Jets. My next game I have is the Saints at the Falcons. To me, that's going to be a very, very tight game. When it comes to Breeze and Matt Ryan, especially in that division, it's always very tight games always. I'm looking at the Saints to win this game. To me, the problem is right now is that their defense is struggling, but their offense is still flying. We'll see what happens with the Atlanta Falcons, but Matt Ryan's also looking pretty good. They did just lose Keanu Neal, so I don't know how that's going to affect with red hot Michael Thomas having 28 receptions the first 2 games of the year, so we'll see what happens. So the next game, I picked the Denver Broncos over the Baltimore Ravens at the Baltimore Ravens. To me, Joe Flacco looked great first week. Second week, he looked good. Team actually lost to the Bengals, which actually shocked me. I really thought the Baltimore Ravens were the better team. Denver, Case Keenum had a struggling week last week, but Denver was still looking good. They still just beat Oakland. In this game, I'm still going to pick Denver over Baltimore. I would maybe say an underdog because I think Baltimore is actually looking really good. Throwing to the new targets like John Brown, Michael Crabtree, Willie Snead. I think Joe Flacco's looking great. Case Keenum not so much, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Denver Broncos over the Baltimore Ravens. So then the next game I have is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers have been very iffy to me. First week they were winning, and they ended up beating the Dallas Cowboys. Last week they lost. I'm pretty sure. No, yeah, they lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Very tight game, but the Bengals are just red hot right now with Andy Dalton, and I really like how they're playing right now. Even with Joe Mixon going to be injured, I still think the Bengals are going to have a little edge over the Carolina Panthers. So I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals over the Carolina Panthers. Next game is the New York Giants and the Houston Texans. Both teams are 0-2. One team's an 0-3, and I think from the stats is that any team that started out 0-3 has made the playoffs. I don't know how long that's been, but that's a known stat. The New York Giants struggling on the line. They were my pick to win the division. Eagles are getting Wentz back earlier than I thought, so that might change. I'm not going to change my pick because I don't change picks. I go with my picks I had in the beginning of the season, but to me it looks like the Eagles might win it if Wentz is healthy, and he looks like he's doing very good like he did last year at the MVP season. But right now, the Giants' O-line is just awful. Their defense isn't playing that great. I mean, they threw the ball to Barkley 14 times, which is not bad for a running back to get in fantasy. But like when you're trying to win games, it's horrible. You can't even run the ball. They got no offensive line. Eli Manning, I think, got sacked like 8 times last week against the Dallas Cowboys. It's just horrible. Eli Manning, everyone wants to blame Eli Manning. It's not his fault. They got no line. But yeah, then the Houston Texans, they're on a slow start. They had two hard weeks. Forget who they played first week or last week. They played Tennessee. They just lost that game. I think they're going to come back at home and beat the Giants. Very easy win. They got a very good pass rush defense against a crappy O-line, and I just don't think the Giants are going to win it. So I'm picking Houston over Giants in that one. Next game's another division rival, Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm easily picking the Jacksonville Jaguars on this. Last week, Jaguars surprised me very much. Didn't have Leonard Fournette. They were home against the Patriots. but they were playing really good. Blake Bortles was throwing very accurate passes, looked amazing. And to me, I think they're going to keep on riding into that. They seem hungry to try to get back to the AFC title game, try to get to the Super Bowl this year. They don't like they're playing around, even without Leonard Fournette. The Tennessee Titans looked pretty good last week, but I mean, going on the road against Jacksonville, I'm still picking Jacksonville. The next game we have is San Francisco 49ers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, it's amazing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 10 touchdowns, first two games this year. He's high and flying. San Francisco's going on the road. I'm not saying they have a good coverage, but I still think that the Kansas City Chiefs are red hot. They're going to beat them. San Francisco did win last week against the Detroit Lions, a team that really is struggling. The Detroit Lions with new coach Matt Patricia, but I'm still going to pick the San Francisco to lose at Kansas City. The next game is Oakland and Miami. Now, these are two teams that are very iffy to me. Oakland just lost by basically a field goal past 2 weeks. And John Gruden's the new coach in the team, and they're 0-2 right now. I think they're hungry for a win. Miami, they just won like the last 2 weeks. They beat the Jets last week. They played pretty good. Robert Quinn was getting off to Sam Darnold, so was Cameron Wake. They were playing pretty good, but I mean, I'm thinking that the Oakland Raiders are going to come out hungry and firing, and they're going to beat the Miami Dolphins. The next game, I have Buffalo at the Minnesota Vikings. This is if you're a Viking fan, I wouldn't even watch this game because Buffalo Bills are just awful. My knockout pool, I'm picking the Bills to lose against the Vikings. The Vikings are looking really good right now. But yeah, no, they just signed Dan Bailey because Ford was missing field goals last week, so they tied. But I'm definitely gonna pick the Minnesota Vikings over the Buffalo Bills. So the next game we got is Indianapolis Colts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Very interesting game. Andrew Luck's looking a lot better. They won last week. That was one of my good picks. My other picks weren't that good, but Andrew Luck is actually looking really good. He has two good tight ends he's throwing to right now. He's doing pretty good with them. Not a good running back system, but they're still playing good. But they're away against the Eagles when Carson Wentz has come back. And to me, the biggest problem with the Eagles is their quarterback. They did win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, but having Carson Wentz really carry that team up for a long of the ways. If you look at last year of Nick Foles, the last few games where he started in the regular season, he struggled. Even when he played Atlanta, he struggled. And then he didn't start playing good until the Minnesota game, and then he had that great game in the Super Bowl. So to me, he had two very good games last year, which helped lead him to the Super Bowl. A lot of things to me is like what carried him was their defense. I'm still going to pick the Eagles in this one. I think Wentz is going to come back strong, better than ever, and we'll see what happens. I'm picking the Eagles though. Next game is Green Bay at Washington. Washington struggled last week. They basically got their ass handed to them by the Indianapolis Colts, and that blew me away. I thought it would be a tight game, but I think they only scored like 3 points. I mean, they're playing the Indianapolis Colts defense. They're not playing like the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And they only scored like 3 points, and they got some good players on that team. They got Alex Smith, Chris Thompson, Paul Richardson, Jordan Reed, Jameson Crowder on offense. It's a good offense. I just don't get why it didn't do that good. But you look at Green Bay. The Green Bay is playing very good under Aaron Rodgers, and I think the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Washington Redskins in this one. Next game, to me, is probably maybe the best game of the week. The LA Chargers at the LA Rams. Very interesting game. I think it's maybe going to be a close one, but I'm still going to pick the Rams over the Chargers just because of their defense. Chargers have been playing pretty good right now, and so have the Rams. The Rams had a blowout game where they won 34-0 against the Arizona Cardinals. Goff looks good. Gurley looks good. But I'm still picking the Rams over the Chargers. The next game I have is the Chicago Bears at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals played awful past 2 weeks. I think they've scored maybe 3 points the past 2 weeks. I think they scored 3 points first week. They were blown out, didn't have a single point last week. They're not utilizing David Johnson, which is maybe one of the best, maybe the best or at least top 5 running backs in the league, if not even for fantasy also. And they're not utilizing them that much. You're not giving any passes. They're only giving like 10 to 15 carries a game, which that's not how you're going to win games. Your best offensive weapon is David Johnson. You're not giving them the ball. They're home against Chicago. Chicago, again, they have a great defense. After they added Khalil Mack, their defense has been red hot. I still don't like Trubisky. Trubisky's doing okay with his new offense. But to me, just because how bad the Cardinals have been, and, Sam Bradford just isn't the same anymore. He's always been an injured quarterback, but every time he played, he was always good. But now, to me, he isn't good anymore. But I'm picking Chicago over Arizona. So the next game I have is Dallas at Seattle. This is going to be an interesting game to me. Dallas just came off a good win against the New York Giants after they lost to Carolina. Seattle, I think they're 0-2, or they're 1-2, or I'm sorry, or they're 1-1. But Seattle and Russell Wilson are looking pretty good. I think that Seattle Seahawks are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys at home. We'll see about that, though. The next game I have is the New England Patriots at Detroit Lions. To me, it's an easy win. All right, it's the New England Patriots over the Detroit Lions. Patriots did struggle last week. They also just added Josh Gordon. I don't know how good that's actually going to be, if that's going to turn out to be the next big receiver, like where they acquired like Randy Moss, or the next receiver they acquired like Chad Ochocinco or Chad Johnson, you would say, he didn't really do that good for the Patriots, but Randy Moss did. Not saying he's Randy Moss, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with how good they actually do. Detroit Lions are still struggling. New coach Matt Patricia, not saying he's a horrible coach. He's got a very young defense. Not too many defensive players besides like Darius Slay and Ziggy. It's a young offensive line. Stafford's good, but it's just a very young team. They're in the hardest division, right? Maybe one of the hardest divisions, and they're in fourth. They're going to be in fourth place at the end of the year because they're in a hard division. But I'm picking Patriots over the Detroit Lions. So then the last game I have is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm really excited to watch this game. My dad's a Steeler fan. To me right now, I'm a little upset about Le'Veon Bell, how much of a dick he's being by sitting out, how selfish he is. I don't blame the offensive line being mad at him at all. I really don't. He should really just man up and say, all right, I'm going to play for my team. But no, he doesn't. I think the Steelers should just trade him, have James Conner be the future back of the team. And that's what I think it's end up happening. If the Steelers really wanted him on the team, they would have given him the money already. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think Bell's going to be a Steeler next year. I really don't. But I think they're really hungry for a win, and they're going to try and come out and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers have been red hot, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I'm still going to pick the Steelers over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So those are my pick, guys. Those are my picks. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.